Video number 2 Sunday. So Wolf Street has an interesting article. Wolf Richter. Stocks soared on Trump's $1 trillion infrastructure boom, or, want to spend. But that just evaporated, so now what? But before I get into this article, I want to say, and I have to say this in this way. So and first and foremost, take this with a grain of salt, because I don't know if this will amount to something or not. But given the information that someone passed to me, there could be something to this. However, it's one of those things where, like I like to call REO Speedwagon syndrome. Heard it from a friend who heard it from another. But when I look at down who heard it from who, if it's legitimate, there could be something here. There could very well be something here. So I just want to bring it to your attention. Don't hold your breath yet, but I want you to just know this, that it's a possibility. And the little birdie, which passed me some very interesting information, seems to believe that silver prices within the next few months will be going up quite significantly, and not necessarily because of spot price, the normal day-to-day price, spot price, but because of a huge and increasing premium that's going to be put on silver, precious metals, as in, bullion. So let me just take a little peek. Some of this information is from allegedly from the inside, a bit bankster-ish kind of a thing. Anyways, I'm going to just give you an example. I didn't get numbers as far as how much the premium may go up, other than don't be surprised, is what I was told. Don't be surprised if the premium asked for silver, which means whatever spot price is plus the premium, like you buy a silver eagle and it's $2.99 over spot. That means if silver is $20, in order for you to buy one silver eagle, the premium's $2.99, you're going to pay $22.99 to get that into your possession. That's what premium is. If you buy just a regular 1 ounce coin, you might be able to pick it up for 70, 80, 90 cents above spot. And if this information is correct, they said that spot price would be more than, premium would be more than spot price. So in other words, if we have $18 silver in whatever this person says actually happens, whatever, that would be the equivalent of, say, a $20 premium costing you now 40, almost, call it $38 for 1 ounce of silver. Yet you look online, the Kitco and all this Comex, sets the price. It says it's $18 today. But everywhere you go to buy it has a $20, surcharge, if you will, premium on top. Again, take this with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know whether this will play out. And again, especially when someone says that someone else said that someone else says. But if you can sit back and say, well, who's the first someone else? Okay, that person may be legit. Who's the second one behind them? And if that person's legit, if they are who they say are, that kind of thing, then you say, well, in that case, heard it from a friend, you heard it from a friend, you heard it from another, silver's been messing around. Might be something to it. Again, just keep it on your radar and leave it at that for now. I didn't want to just hold that back, because normally that's a little bit much for me to just come out and do a video on and talk about, get ready for this. I can't do that, because we just don't know. And this was a third-hand kind of a, second and third-hand kind of a source. But there may be something to this. I'm going to tell you that, which is why I'm doing this video. So, having said all that, the Donald's getting pushed back everywhere he goes. Congress, again, we haven't even got past repeal and replace Obamacare. We haven't even gotten that done. We have now passed the debt ceiling date, March 15th. As I'm doing this video, it's the 18th. You'll see this on the 19th. And again, we got all next week, 20th, 21, 22, 23. Then we have to get and start dealing with the debt ceiling. When's that going to happen? Are they going to stand in his way? Are they not going to allow him? Because again, there's a lot of Republican, fiscal conservatives. We don't want to increase the debt ceiling. We want to fix the budget to wait so that it will work. And Mr. Trump, you ran on a campaign about this, but now you're kind of saying you want to raise the debt ceiling and charge $1 trillion right off the bat for infrastructure. I mean, I understand we got to have issues, but we need a better budget than that. Like, we got to pull back. And before you say, well, yeah, but he is cutting back. Understand he's only cutting back tens of billions and adding those tens of billions to the Defense Department budget. So take from the left hand, give to the right hand, you're still left with the same, if I have an apple in this hand and I hand it to my right hand, I still have one apple. I haven't cut, I'll cut it up into pieces and get rid of it. Oh, well, that'll make it smaller, but then I'm going to put them in the right hand. Well, you're right back to where you were. So he may find a massive uphill battle in Congress with this debt ceiling. I can give you reasons why. Oh, they'll pass it. They always pass it. The Congress, they're going to have to pass it because they want to get voted in again. And if they don't work with the president and all of us feel this financial problem that they would have created by not doing this, we're going to be screaming at them. What are you doing? We have to do this. You're going to never get voted back in. So the Congress will be thinking about that. But on the flip side, again, if there's so many of those people who know Donald, he's not part of the status quo, and we are, and even though he won, he still has to work with us. And we're going to stick it to him because we're so angry and so bitter that we lost. We don't care. If a taxpayer vote me again, I don't care. I want him out. I want him to suffer so he never gets voted back in for a second term. Let's not do this debt ceiling deal and screw the hell out of him. It's going to be painful for everybody else, but we don't care. We're rich. We're Congress. We're rich. We have multiple houses, but gives a crap. Like Rockefeller told Aaron Russo, Aaron, who cares about the people? What do you care about the people? Who gives a crap about them? Take care of your family. That's all that matters. Who cares about the people? Anyways, Wall Street will have to go look for another mirage to hype. During the campaign, President Trump explained that he'd fire up the economy and create jobs by spending $1 trillion on infrastructure. It's in terrible shape and needs some big spending. It might have been material for rare bipartisan agreement. The stock market has soared since the election, counting on this $1 trillion in new federal spending and pricing it in, so to speak. Infrastructure stocks were hot, but by the looks of it, some folks are going to end up holding the bag because there is not a trace of this huge spending plan in the 2018 budget blueprint released by the White House on Thursday. Instead, the blueprint slashed the budget of the Department of Transportation by 13% and cut out some existing plans for infrastructure spending. Yet on February 12th, just days before his efforts to defund existing infrastructure projects began to seep to the surface, I wondered incredulously if Trump and California suddenly see eye to eye on high-speed rail because Trump, still brimming with enthusiasm about infrastructure spending, had told aviation CEOs this encouraging tidbit. And we have an obsolete plane system. We have obsolete airports. We have obsolete trains. We have bad roads. We're going to change all of that, folks. You're going to be so happy with Trump. I think you already are. End quote. And when the stock market opened in Japan, a major supplier of train systems to the U.S., had this happened. Trump promises fast trains. Japan's railway stocks soar. Days later, everything changed. In mid-February, the Department of Transportation announced that it would withhold its portion of $647 million of funding for the Caltrain electrification project. Caltrain runs 45 miles between San Francisco and San Jose in parallel with the awfully congested Highway 101, straight through Silicon Valley, a stretch that generates 14% of California's GDP and where 43% of the venture capital of the U.S. is invested. The $2 billion project entails buying electric train sets to replace the diesel trains, installing overhead wire systems, improving tracks, etc. The current diesel trains move 65,000 people a day. After these improvements, it was hoped ridership would rise to 110,000 people a day and relieve some pressure on the 101. Caltrain estimated that the project would create 9,600 jobs in the Bay Area and throughout the U.S., including a plant in Salt Lake City that would be built to assemble the new rail cars. The budget eliminates funding to other transit projects, including Phase 2 of the BART, or Bay Area Rapid Transit, extension to Silicon Valley, and Phase 3 of the Purple Line subway extension to Los Angeles. The budget calls for eliminating the Department of Transportation's New Starts program, which provides about $2.3 billion a year to commuter rail and other infrastructure programs. New Starts were expected to be a major funding source for the Gateway Tunnel under the Hudson River, designed to relieve the 100-year-old Hudson River rail tunnels. The budget eliminated federal spending that local governments have been relying on for all kinds of infrastructure development. Quote, "It's hard not to wonder how those cuts jibe with the president's often repeated pledge to invest in infrastructure," end quote. Brian Turmel, a spokesman for Associated General Contractors of America, told the New York Times, "We had a sense that this was coming, but it doesn't mean that we like it." Richard White, president of the American Public Transportation Association, again, as soon as I see that word, I can't help but comment. Is there not an association, I mean, for everything? Association, there's probably an American Pedophile such and such association. There's probably one of those too. It seems to me and to many other people pretty inconsistent with all of the stated intents to invest in the nation's infrastructure. Okay, a presidential budget blueprint is traditionally DOA in Congress, where the power of the purse resides and is closely guarded, so that missing $1 trillion infrastructure spending boom could still materialize. Weirder things have happened before. Nevertheless, so far there is no evidence that there will be massive infrastructure spending. For now, it looks like there will be less infrastructure spending. The Fed already expressed its doubts about any boost to the economy from federal infrastructure spending, and apparently doesn't see that $1 trillion coming down the pike. At its meeting on March 15th, it left its economic growth projections essentially unchanged from its meeting in December, with a median projection of GDP growth in 2017 and 2018 of 2.1%, and in 2019 of 1.9%. The same lowly levels of past years, to be undershot periodically by reality. I.e., revision and double revision downward. Sorry, we missed those. It's actually not 2.1 GDP. It's going to be more like 1.6. And the 1.9 we thought for 2019 to actually be like 1.1. Where does this leave the stock market? The Trump trade was conditioned on, among other things, massive deficit spending on infrastructure projects that would distribute $1 trillion of taxpayer money to the companies involved in it. Wall Street has endlessly hyped this bonanza and has used it to rationalize the recent rally of already irrational stock prices. Now it looks like Wall Street will have to go look for a mirage to hype, or someone is going to end up holding the bag. Fake prices, metastasizing derivatives, bloodletting among retailers, the Snap IPO, which has been crashing lately. Told you to stay away from that turd, by the way. JSNIP4 was looking out for you. Get away from that. Let the millennials and those bozos who were commenting about wanting to get into the market, so they chose that. I told you, get away from that thing. Turn stockholders into zombies, according to them. China's credit bubble that makes even the New York Fed jittery, etc. So we've now had, again, that special date, the 13th, that guy told us about, to look for any news, anything happening around there that is going to paint a bad picture for the markets, specifically the Dow Jones, and then watch April 11th, even more importantly, forget that date, April 11th is the big date. We could have some problems, big problems in the market. And since that date, 13th, let me just pull up a chart just to be fair. Dow Jones doesn't have a chart. And then, again, another 20 points down. 5 days. I think, let's see, 5 days, 14, 13, 14. It started It did rally on one day. It rallied on the 16th, 15th. Actually, the 15th. It ended the day good, but it's pretty much, if you look at it, it's telling us that the Dow is in trouble. Then, I mean, I'll just switch over for you to see it yourself. If we look at a month, let's look at the month chart. March 1st. Again, the trend is not looking good. Okay. Now, before that, oh man, rally, the Trump trade, everything. Oh, yeah, everything's good. Spending, everything's going to be great. And then, oh, wait a minute. What's happening? Debt ceiling problems and everything else, right? So, if, again, the 13th, and here's the 15th, so you have this exact time frame, 13th right here, which it was down. One day it went up, then it's right back down on the trend again for the last several days. I think the guy might have been onto something. We're just going to sit back and watch, but he's got his work cut out for him, Mr. Trump. They're going to fight him. They've been fighting him. Look, they're fighting him tooth and nail on everything. However, he did go to the G20, as I just said in my last video. We're reversing years of globalist agreement and trade deals to accommodate the U.S. Trump wins. That was the title of it. So where does that leave this $1 trillion spending bill? Because again, even if the Democrats are willing to, okay, let's concede a bit and work with him, he's willing to work with us, let's pass this budget, this debt ceiling thing. So that way we can also give $1 trillion as part of that raising of the debt ceiling. Trust me, it's going to be raised high enough so that $1 trillion comes into play for infrastructure and whatnot. But again, you have Republican conservatives who are saying, wait a minute, that's not what we thought we were getting into, so we can't vote on that. So then you have to say, well, hopefully he can make enough deals or whatever with the Republicans to get the magical 218 votes he needs or whatever. Again, this is going to be, like I said, it seems like since 2012 or 13, each year we keep, you'd see something, man, the year was more exciting and more crazier than last year. And then the next year is even more crazy than that one, the next one. And are we not onto the same thing in this year in 2017? We just got it started and look at this thing. So, again, exciting time to be around. Don't get me wrong. Exciting time to be around. And I just don't know how this is going to go. Again, you look at the web out and look at some other stuff, it's not going to go well at all. So, we'll see. Take care.